Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you boys? This is the worksheet which we were trying to solve, and we completed 10 sentences yesterday. Today we'll try to do the remaining, starting with the 11th one, translation. All right. Now let's see. Uh, Moving on to the 11th sentence. Okay. इत्तफाक में बरकत है. Now again, such kind of sentences, as I told you, if there are idioms, phrases, sayings, proverbs, you need to find the English version of the proverb or the idiom. Now for this, the famous one is unity is strength. Okay, and the next one, we'll resume it. Okay, this is the one which we did. The first one here. Yes, we did the 11th one. As I said, unity is strength. Okay, and moving on to the 12th one. जब वो वहां पहुंचे तकरीब शुरू हो चुकी थी. Okay, now for these kind of sentences, there are quite a few, and usually every year in the board exams they ask this kind of conditional sentence. Okay, this is one of the kinds where you can translate it. Once you learn the pattern of these kind of conditional sentences, you can translate any of the conditional sentences in your exams. Okay, जब वो वहां पहुंचे, when they reached there. All right, THERE, don't write THEIR here. वहां, there. When they reached there, तकरीब शुरू हो चुकी थी. Okay, for taqreeb you can use the word when they reach there, the gathering, the party, the program, okay, had started. Shuru ho chuki thi. The next part of the sentence is past perfect. Had started. All right. So that is basically the translation. Okay. Next sentence. मैं काफ़ी दिनों से सालाना इम्तिहान की तैयारी कर रहा हूँ. Now this sentence seems to be present continuous, but this is present perfect continuous. Okay. I have been preparing for Salana exams is annual exams or final exams. Okay, preparing for annual exams काफी दिनों से. Okay, I have been preparing for annual exams. Now see, there are two things over here which you need to remember. Okay, and those two things are, one thing is how to use since and how to use for. As we have discussed earlier, you use since when a specific time, starting time is given, but here the starting time is not given. All right, it can be many days, it can be 10 days, it can be 20 days, it can be 2 weeks. So in that case, you have to use for when you don't have a specific starting time mentioned. So I have been preparing for annual exams for many days. All right, this is how you translated. Okay, now moving on to the next one. If I'm making any mistake, please raise your hand and let me know. uh, क्या आप अगले हफ्ते ज़राई फार्म की सैर को जाएंगे? Now this is a simple future sentence, okay, but just be careful with the structure, the placement of the words, and the translation of the words here. Now here will, जाएंगे, or you can say go, or will you visit, okay, will you go, or you can write will you go to visit the agricultural farm next week. All right, and it's a question mark. Yeah, so you put a question mark in the end so that you don't lose any marks. Okay, will you go to visit the agricultural agri? I'm not making any spelling mistakes. Please let me know. Agricultural farm नेक्स्ट वीक. क्या आप अगले हफ्ते ज़राई फार्म की सैर को जाएंगे? Okay. I think some students also come up saying that will you go for a picnic to the agricultural farm next week? Well, that is fine. That is also fine. I usually do not deduct marks for this translation. Seems fine. Sir, picnic. You can write yes. Will you go for a picnic to the agricultural farm next week? Yes. So you can then change it and say, will you go uh, for a picnic to the agricultural farm next week? Well, that's not wrong. That's fine. And I'll try to adjust it in one line. Okay. Next sentence here. बागबानी एक बेहतरीन मशगला है. Now बागबानी is simply gardening. Okay. Okay, so gardening is the बेहतरीन means it's the third degree, superlative degree of adjective. So best hobby, you would say. Okay. If you have a better translation, please let me know. This is what I feel seems fine. Let's come back. Okay. The next sentence here. उर्दू पाकिस्तान की कौमी ज़बान है. So for that, it's very simple. Urdu is the national language of Pakistan. Now, in these kind of sentences, though the translation is not that difficult, but what mistakes usually children make, you need to make sure that you are careful with the punctuation. You see, P should be capital over here. Okay, U in Urdu, obviously here it's the first word, so you hardly make mistakes here. But still, some of the students, if Urdu or such a word is coming in the middle of the sentence, they do not write a capital U for Urdu or a capital E for English. So be careful with the proper nouns. For proper nouns, you have to use capital letters. Okay, next one is quite interesting now. It says जिसकी लाठी उसकी भैंस. No, for this sentence, uh, you need to see that you do not translate it. Actually, you basically find the English version of this particular idiom. What it wants to say is the people in power are always dominant. Okay, if you have power, people will listen to you, people will follow you, or you will be having the say particular in your particular region, or in your class, or in your society. So here you can, in English, there's a saying, might. Might means one with power. Might is right. This means that the one who is having power is always considered right. Nobody dares to say anything against such a person. So this is somewhat the English version of jiski lathi uski bhains. Okay, and the next one here, so you can write here, चादर देखकर पाँव फैलाओ. No, don't try to translate this one again. The English version is cut your coat according to the cloth. This is the English version of the proverb चादर देखकर पाँव फैलाओ. Next one, बारिश 2 घंटे से हो रही है. Again, do not write it is raining for 2 hours. No, it is present perfect continuous. You have to write it has been raining. And again, don't use since over here. You won't write since because you do not know the starting time when the activity, when the particular event or thing has happened or started happening. The total time is mentioned. So in this case, again, you are going to write for. It has been raining for 2 hours. This is the correct translation. All right, going to the last one now. What is the last sentence? If I'm, a little bit of, okay, last sentence is, see, a similar one, the one which we did previously. These kind of sentences are there in the examination, so you need to practice it. Okay, what is the sentence here? वो आज रात हवाई जहाज से लाहौर जाएगा. Simple future sentence. Do not confuse yourselves. Okay, when you see, what is particular, what is the mindset of students usually when the sentence is very lengthy, you do not translate it as a simple present, past or future sentence, and you go for some other kind of tense thinking that the sentence is lengthy, so the tense might be something else and not a simple tense. No, please try to understand the sentence. Here it is jayega, nothing else ja raha hai or ja chuka hoga or nothing of that sort. So it is a simple future sentence over here. Okay, so how would you translate it? Simple future is a very simple sentence, as the name also says. So he will go to Lahore by air tonight, right? Aaj raat, yes. Sorry, NIG, yes, correct. He will go to Lahore by air tonight. Okay, or by air, yes, हवाई जहाज से is usually written as by air. He will go to Lahore by air tonight. So this is the translation of the remaining sentences of the first translation worksheet that was given to you for practice. And if there is any question, you may please ask me.